What's going on, people? This is Shok, and this time I have my microphone working for sure. No, that I did not do that on purpose. I try to play along a little bit on Twitter if you guys are following me on there, but no, that video was not supposed to be muted. Apparently, I had my mic muted the whole time. I didn't realize that until after the video was uploaded. My apologies for that. And if I look tired as hell right now, that is because I am. I had a very, very busy and tiring vacation. And, you would think a vacation shouldn't be tiring, but, we just did lots of driving around, lots of traveling. My freaking flight last night got delayed 4.5 hours. I was supposed to have gotten in at 11. I was possibly even going to live stream or something, depending on my mood. But I was supposed to have gotten in at 11 last night. I ended up getting in at 2:50. It was ridiculous. And reason being, Texas weather delayed the flight. Texas has the worst weather. Crap. The only redeeming factor about this place is the economy. That's it. But I'm not going to get into all that. My friends who know me know that I'm very anti-Texas, but we're not going to get into all that. But let me go ahead and redo this video that I meant to have uploaded for you guys on Friday, and that is Reggie's latest damage control on this whole voice chat situation regarding the Switch. An interviewer had reached out to him and asked him, now that the Nintendo Switch Online has launched, why is the voice chat still on the Switch itself and not on the freaking system? And none of this is particularly anything new, but I decided to go ahead and discuss this because it deals with something I've always said about Nintendo, and Reggie kind of says it verbatim. But the first response was Nintendo's approach is to do things differently. We have a much different suite of experiences than our competitors offer, and we do that in a different way. This creates a sort of yin and yang for our consumers. They're excited about cloud saves and legacy content, but wish we might deliver voice chat in a different way, for example. Now, he's not wrong about that. We definitely do wish you would deliver it in a different way, but I want to talk about the first part of that sentence there, the first sentence actually, the first part of the paragraph. Nintendo's approach is to do things differently. What is something what is something I've always said before, guys, time and time again on this channel. Nintendo does things differently for the sake of doing things differently. They will try to be unique, they will force themselves to do something uniquely and in a different way to the detriment of themselves. They don't care. As long as they are doing something differently, that is a win in their book, and that is a very, very toxic and detrimental mindset that they have. And I'll be getting into that a little bit more. But moving on, and here's the dumbest things. My dog in the background scratching herself. Ebony, get out of my camera, dog. We gotta get you groomed. Um, What we see here is a situation where we know the Nintendo Switch is being played in the open, at a park, on a metro bus. We believe the easiest way for you to connect and have a peer-to-peer experience with voice chat is with your mobile phone. It's always there, it's always with you. I want to talk about that last part there. It's always there, it's always with you. That is Nintendo's logic for putting the voice chat all on your phone rather than on the system itself. So the logic is, since you always have your phone with you, you will always have voice chat available for your Switch. But wait a minute, it is crazy that someone has to say this, that this something has to be explained. But if you want to do online gaming on the go, and I'm saying online because we're talking about the voice chat application. Obviously, if you're going to be using the voice chat application, you're going to be wanting to play online. If you want to play your online game with you on your Switch, doesn't that also mean that you will have, I don't know, your Switch with you at the same time? Right? It makes no sense to me. Well, how could you say, how could your logic and your reasoning be, people always have their phones on them, so they'll always be able to have voice chat. But if people want to play a game on their system, if you want to play a game on your system, you're always going to have the system with you as well. That doesn't make any sense. If you just Nintendo, it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. This was done back in 2000s. And in the early 2000s with the original Xbox does voice chat better than the Switch for some freaking reason. I don't understand how that is physically possible. I don't. But if you just put the voice chat on the system, Nintendo, we will always have voice chat for our Switch games. If you put it on the system that contains the games we are trying to play in the first place, you do not have to worry about your phone. I don't understand. I do not understand. This should not be complicated. This should be a plug in and play issue, right? Like, let's say you got the earbuds with a microphone thing. I should be able to just plug those in and boom, have voice chat on all of my Nintendo games. It should just be able to act that way. Why is there not a party chat system? Now, one of the defenses I see some Nintendo fans saying is, they want to keep the OS and the background operations to a minimum. Based off what I remember, I think the operating system only takes like 200 kilobytes, not megabytes, kilobytes if I remember correctly. That is an incredibly small amount. But what these people are also forgetting is that all these console manufacturers, they always lock a certain percentage of the performance. They lock the games out of that, right? Games aren't allowed to use a certain percentage, so that way they have a dedicated amount of performance and power for background operations in the operating system in the first place, okay? Right? 200 KB is not the excuse me, is not the limit size. I think I might have come down from something. I can't come back from San Jose. That's not the limit size for the operating system and background operations. It's not. It's not. And let's take the Wii U for instance, right? Because some people were saying this with the Wii U. The Wii U had like a whole entire. The Wii U had 2 gigabytes of RAM, right? The Wii U had an entire 1 gig of RAM dedicated to the operating system and background operations. And it turned out that system did almost nothing in the background, right? So it's like, why did y'all even have this whole 1 gig sealed away for the operating system and multitasking capabilities when the system had very little of those things, if any at all, right? But of course, I'm not sure because I haven't looked into it myself. I haven't really seen much discussion regarding it. But of course, this goes for the Switch itself as well. We know that the Switch has a certain amount. For some reason, the back part of my dock just came loose. We know that the Switch is going to have some certain amount of performance that is more than freaking 200 kilobytes, right? That is an unnecessarily low amount of memory being used for the operating system. There's no reason to have it that low. There's no reason whatsoever. But we know the Switch has a certain amount sealed away for the operating system and background features. But obviously, just like with the Wii U, Nintendo is deciding not to use it all because reasons. And it's sad that you could say reasons and Nintendo as the reasons for things that they do, and it actually makes sense. Like, I could just say that and people understand exactly what I mean. It's sad that I can do that. I shouldn't be able to do that. That shouldn't make sense. There should be actual specific reasoning, logic, explanations, no. But when it comes down to it, it's literally just Nintendo. It really is. It's just Nintendo. The voice chat thing aside, there's no reason why there shouldn't be some other basic things in the system, such as being able to message your friends. Yes, you cannot message your friends on an online enabled gaming machine. In a day and age where we've had almost 2 decades now of online multiplayer on console anyways, we can't message not still because we could do it on the previous systems, which makes it even more logical, but we can't message friends on our 2017 device. Like, adding your friends on the Switch is actually, as of right now, pretty freaking useless because you actually can't interact with them. So I know I'm getting a little off track, but it just amazes me how, again, I'm just kind of going through just how little there is to show you why these things can be done, because the system isn't doing anything already. You see what I mean? There's already hardly anything running in the background, right? Like, There's some set aside for the home feature where you can hit home, go back to the home menu. That requires some resources and whatnot. But outside of that, there's nothing really running in the background, nothing taxing, nothing worth noting running in the background of the system. They have plenty of resources to dedicate to these features. Again, like I said, I see some Nintendo fans saying, "Oh, you don't know how much that will cost. That'll be a lot of system resources that might take away from the games." Guys, weaker systems than the Switch have done more than the Switch does with less power. And that's a fact. Think about that. The Xbox 360 and the PS3 do 50 times more than the Switch does with a fraction of that system's power. The 360 had 512, if I remember correctly, 512 megabytes of RAM. 512. And I believe that, no, it was the PS4 that had exactly half of that. Not the PS4, excuse me, the PS3 that had exactly half of that dedicated to the operating system. The Xbox, I think it kind of started off half and half, but as time went on, they got it down to something incredibly low, like 12 megabytes or something like that, right? So we've already seen people say, you don't know how much these features, cost the system performance-wise. We actually do, because we know exactly how much these features took away from previous systems, namely the PS3 and 360. And the PS3 and 360 did way more with way less resources. Think about it. The Switch is a 4 gigabyte system. The PS3 and the Xbox 360 didn't even have a single gig. They had 512 gigabytes of RAM. If I remember correctly, 512 megabytes of RAM is what I remember those systems had. And they do more than the Switch when it comes to multitasking capabilities, voice chat, so on and so forth. Why? At the end of the day, any way you slice it, any way you cut it, there is no defense for this. And I remember when I clamored for these things, in the Wii U days, whatever, people were like, you don't know how hard these things are to develop, so on and so forth. But then that goes back to another thing I've always been saying. Nintendo has technically already done the work, right? They've done the work. They've created the application. The problem is that the application is on a separate freaking device. They finally do the work. They do a feature that we want. There's a part chat feature. The problem is that it's on your phone and not the system. Like, they finally did the work. They had one job. And they just find the most random, like, when I think about these things that Nintendo does, it's like they have to go out of their way almost. It just really seems like they're going out of their way to do these things, but that just wouldn't make any sense. I don't understand how you're creating voice chat for your system, for your gaming machine, but you don't put it on your gaming machine. Can someone explain that to me, please? We've seen perfectly, fine and clearly that voice chat works just fine on the Switch with some third-party games, such as Fortnite. In Fortnite, you can plug in a headset, you're good to go. You can just game chat right there. But as far as Nintendo games go, for some reason, Nintendo is limiting their voice chat to the phone application. Nintendo, I do not want to be linked up to my phone while I'm trying to game. And in Reggie's specific example, he's talking about playing on the go. That's definitely the last place you want to have all this extra cordage and stuff, right? I don't want to be tethered to my phone and also tethered to my Switch because I got to get the game audio too, right? So I got to have a splitter. I have to have one jack going to my phone, splitter, then another jack going to my Switch to get both the voice chat and to get my game audio. Why would I want to do that when I'm on the go? That doesn't make any sense. That kills the portability factor and the whole draw of the Switch in the first place. How are you going to cite, mobility as your example as to why you're using the voice chat on the phone when that hampers the mobile factor? You see what I'm saying? Makes no sense whatsoever. I should be able to just plug in a headset into my Switch, whether it's via the USB port on the dock or whether it's, just one of those earbuds, the earbuds with the mics on them that plug into the headphone jack. Just like with the Wii U, you could do that with the Wii U, and you should just be able to talk. Plain and simple. If I'm going to be gaming while the system is docked, so I don't have access to like the the system's headphone jack on the top or whatever, I should be able to just link up a Bluetooth headset to my Switch and be able to talk in all of my games, plain and simple. Voice chat needs to be supported natively in these games, but not only on a game-to-game basis. Forget that. Let's not settle for that, guys. We need to get a voice chat application on the freaking system itself. It is incredible and amazing to me how in 2018, not only do we still have godforsaken friend codes, but we actually can't even communicate with the friends that we have added on our next generation Nintendo system. That makes no sense. Nobody should be okay with that. And guys, based off the dislikes I saw on the Nintendo Switch Online video, guys, and see that's the thing. Like, the Nintendo fan base could do anything they want. The problem is that too many of us are complacent. And I'm not even saying the majority of the people are okay with Nintendo Online. As a matter of fact, I think it's the opposite. This is one of the few times where I've seen the majority of the Nintendo fan base actually criticize something legitimately bad that Nintendo is doing. The problem is that despite some people voicing that it is bad, a lot of people are still going along with it, or they're not pursuing any further action past just saying that's bad, right? You got to do something on top of that. If we all came together and collectively told Nintendo, dislikes are nice, they see that, but that's not enough. But if we all collectively came together and was like, yo, Nintendo, can we just get voice chat on the system itself? Chances are, people, they do it. Chances are. If we all just came together, but so many of us are just so complacent. So some of you, and again, I think in this particular case, the people damage controlling are the minority. So I'm not trying to make this seem like, oh, it's the entire Nintendo fan base as most of y'all, because I don't think it is. I think it's the minority for once that's actually defending Nintendo when it comes to these features in the Nintendo Switch Online. But I also think that despite the majority of us realizing it is bad, it's still nothing's being done because we're not doing anything past acknowledging that it's bad. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying we have to do this whole big like redirect type thing like I tried in the past. Maybe y'all have to bring that back. I don't know. But we need to do more than just disliking the video. We have the power. For once, the majority of the Nintendo fan base are the critics. So in this particular case, in this particular instance, we can definitely do something about Nintendo Switch Online, and we could definitely do something about this voice chat, this whole voice chat issue, and we can definitely do something about this just in general, just lack of communication on the console. I just don't see how you're gonna have games like Mario Party, Splatoon, and Smash, right? These multiplayer focused, right? Multiplayer is like the core of these franchises. And you have these on a system that doesn't offer communication between friends. That's asinine. That's absolutely insane. I don't see how anyone could just be complacent, sitting around, letting that fly. That's crazy to me. But that's it for this video, guys. That's all I want to say. Nintendo, once again, just being different for the sake of being different, even if it makes no sense, even if it's illogical, different good, regardless of any type of context or taking any other aspects into consideration. Oh, another thing before I end. Reggie also stated in the same interview that he doesn't view the PlayStation and the Xbox brands as competition. He said, we're not competing with them. We're competing for people's time. Reggie, that is one of the dumbest motherfucking things I have ever heard in my life. That is one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard in my life. He really thought he was saying, something deep. Like that was such a Kanye comment. It really was. It was a comment. He really thought he was being like really smart with that. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have people looking at it a different way. We're not competing with the Xbox. We're competing with people's time. Guess what else is taking up other gamers' time? The PlayStation and the Xbox. So Nintendo, you can keep on living in La La Land. You can keep on living in your alternate dimension where companies who are selling the same product as you, in the same industry as you, in the same market as you. Listen to what I'm saying. Keep pretending that these people aren't competition. The Switch might be doing okay right now. I know the sales slowed down, but it's still doing okay. It might be doing okay right now. But you will still always hold yourself back. Limit your income. Limit your user base. Regardless of how big it gets, you will always limit your maximum potential success if you continue to ignore the fact that Sony and Microsoft are your competitors. They are video game manufacturers who release video game machines in the video game market, in the video game industry. How in the world are they not your competition? They take up other people's free time. If you're going to say you're competing for people's free time, that is your competition. If they are making the same type of machines you are, they are also video game creators. They are your competition. So you can keep using that as an excuse as to why you don't have this and you don't have that. None of us are, well, some of us are stupid apparently, as we saw with the Wii U generation, with all the damage control that happened with that gen. Some of us are, so let me not say that. But there's plenty of us smart people out there. We know better. We see through the bull crap. You guys are using lack of competition as an excuse for mediocrity. Plain and simple. You are using that as an excuse to settle with your minimalist approach. The games you make are great. The games so far for the Switch have been pretty okay to nice as far as the the pace of which they've been released. But you will never have the best system that you can have if you continue to have this mindset. You will always be hindering your user base, your dedicated fans who give you this money that we hope will, get back to us in some type of form or fashion. Oh, hey, they're charging for online. Maybe we'll get some real online. Maybe we'll get more features. No. And somehow, in some twisted way, we give Nintendo money and we get less features than we had when crap was free. Let me end this video before I have an aneurysm. It's mind-boggling to me. But that's it for this video, y'all. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Peace.